Hi divers, welcome back on my channel. My name is Ben, I'm passionate technical and cave diver, and in this video I answered the question if a cheap $18 SMB from China is as good as the $120 model from Halcyon. Coming up. Scuba diving, especially technical diving, can be an expensive sport, and many people try to save some money and buy cheap dive gear instead of always choosing the pricey premium brands. I always say the bitterness of low quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. But is cheap dive gear always low quality? That's why I started to buy cheap dive gear from China and compare it to the rather expensive premium brands. I get some comments from you guys asking to compare SMBs, and this is exactly what we're gonna do now. Just a quick reminder, this is a whole series about how cheap dive gear performs against its premium counterparts, so make sure to subscribe to my channel and never miss a video again. As a scuba diver, you sooner or later gonna need a surface marker buoy or SMB. It's basically used to mark your dive team's position on the surface. If you need to be picked up by your boat's crew, for instance, or to make you visible to other boats. This means the SMB is relevant for your safety because you don't want to get lost in the sea because the boat crew can't see you on the deco. High quality is important here. SMBs come in different sizes and colors. Most common is orange, but they are also available in pink or yellow. I even saw a couple of weeks ago a black one, which misses the whole point of being seen and is most likely meant to be a joke. There are three types of SMBs available: open, semi-closed, or closed. The open ones are just long rubber tubes without any inlet or overpressure valve. They are mostly very cheap. Since the SMB might lose all the gas if flipped over on the surface, I do not recommend this type of SMB. The semi-closed ones are closed tubes with a dump valve to release gas. They are usually inflated by a ductile valve, which is essentially an opening at the bottom that allows air in but not out. Semi-closed SMBs do not have the problem that they might lose gas if flipped over on the surface, but it's relatively difficult to inflate them orally. Many divers use the regulator to inflate the semi-closed SMB, but this carries the risk of getting entangled with the regulator in the SMB, which can lead to an uncontrolled descent. My personal recommendation is to use a closed SMB. Here, the tube is completely closed, so it can't lose gas on the surface. It has, of course, a dump valve to release gas from it, and it has an inlet valve to orally inflate the SMB or use an inflator hose to inflate it. The SMB I use most of the time is this one from Halcyon. It is, of course, a closed SMB. However, this one comes at around €100 or dollars, doesn't make a huge difference, depending on where exactly you buy it. For this comparison, I bought the cheapest closed SMB I could find, and it was this one from Alibaba. Including tax, customs, and so on, I got it for lower than €30, and if you order higher quantities, you might get it even cheaper. The first obvious difference is the size. The Chinese one is 1.80 m. The Halcyon one is the small 1 meter version. That doesn't make a big difference since both SMBs are available in different sizes. The 1.80 m version from Halcyon comes at a price point of around €130 to €140. It's very hard to compare the quality of a SMB, in my opinion. Unlike regulators, there are no numerical values to compare, so no real hard facts. But some features are important. First, let's have a look at the seams. It's very important that the seams are well made. Otherwise, the SMB will fall apart very soon and lose gas, what happened to me with extremely cheap SMBs before. If you compare the seams of both SMBs, you don't really see a large difference. The edges are fused very well and the edge banding fabric seems to be rugged in both SMBs. The one on the Halcyon SMB feels a bit more valuable, while the one on the Chinese SMB has a bit cheaper look. However, I don't think there's a huge difference in function. The Halcyon SMB is made from one piece, and this is the same for the 1.80 m version. That means it misses one long seam on the edge, which is good because the seams are principally weak spots, so the Halcyon SMB has at least one weak spot less. The only really visible difference is here at the bottom, where the D-ring is attached. The attachment on the Chinese SMB looks relatively cheap. It's just sewed from one side and has no reinforcing stitches. The attachment on the Halcyon SMB looks stronger and more durable. It's made from both sides and it has reinforcing diagonal stitches on both sides. So over time, the attachment on the Chinese SMB might come loose. So it's a good idea to check the attachment on a regular basis, because you don't want to lose the SMB when you need it. What is really confusing to me with the Chinese SMB is that it has an inlet valve like a closed one, and I thought it was a closed one, but in fact it's just a semi-closed one because it has as well a duckbill valve here on the bottom. I don't know why they build it this way. Maybe they use different models to copy from. In principle, the duckbill valve is a weak spot and really unnecessary in this case. The dump valve on both SMBs seems to be really similar, so no real difference here. The mouthpiece on the Halcyon SMB is made from metal, while the Chinese version has only a plastic mouthpiece. In my opinion, the metal one is more rugged and generally higher quality, but I know people who like the plastic ones more, especially in cold water, because they don't feel so cold on your lips. Another design flaw in my opinion is that the mouthpiece on the Chinese SMB is not a valve, meaning it is not unidirectional. You have to push this part in to open the mouthpiece, but then the SMB deflates, as you can hear now. Sure, this has no real practical meaning since the SMB is never fully inflated underwater anyway. A way more important point is that if you inflate them orally, the resistance in the Halcyon SMB is much lower than in the Chinese SMB, which is quite hard to inflate. It's not impossible, but inflation with the Halcyon mouthpiece is just easier and more comfortable. All in all, I can say that from design and build, the Halcyon SMB is a bit higher quality. However, I was surprised how well the Chinese SMB is made. Overall, it's a high quality SMB too, and although I haven't used it very often or for a long time now, I think it'll do its job just fine. Sure, in terms of comfort and durability, the Chinese SMB might be slightly worse than the Halcyon one, which has some nice features like the metal mouthpiece or just being built from one piece. But you only have to pay a quarter of the price for the Chinese one. In the end, I think I'll stick to my Halcyon SMB since I like to have the highest available quality and comfort, and I'm willing to spend some more money. But if you try to watch your budget, maybe you're a beginner and you need to buy a lot of other stuff, it's nothing bad to go with the Chinese SMB. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and watch my other videos. See you there.